We're back again for Do That But Better. And Eric, how have you been? It's been what, maybe 2 weeks since we've talked.
Yep.
How
Yep.
have you been?
Busy, fighting sicknesses around here when you got a house full of kids.
Uh huh.
Which, funny story. So, what all the kids have, it's like a combo of like a cough with a lot of mucus. So, let's see. A few days ago, I was picking the girls up from school. On our way back, Josie was drinking some water, choked a little bit, started coughing, got into a coughing fit, and threw up in her car seat.
Uh.
Even better, she had just eaten. This is like TMI to kick this off. Had just eaten a quesadilla. So it was like melted, cheesy tortilla
Uh.
self all over her car seat. Ridiculous.
That is
So
awesome.
then, fast forward to yesterday, Hannah,
Wait a minute.
sister.
Hold on.
Oh,
Were
God.
you on your way somewhere, or were you on your way back?
Thankfully, we we were like a minute from the house.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I had to drive like 25, 30 minutes to get Eloise from school, and then we were on our way back almost to the house when it happened. So yeah, if it had happened half an hour earlier, it would have been a really unpleasant experience.
Just sitting it. Just sitting it. You're gonna be all right.
But yeah, exactly. So then yesterday, my niece Jane, who's a year and a half, same thing. She's sitting on the counter, starts coughing, throws up all over the place.
Uh.
And same thing, it's just like phlegm, like whatever. Lisa and I were both there with Hannah, sister-in-law, to help clean it up. And Hannah says, I'm going to be thankful that it wasn't in her car seat. Because she
That
had watched me come in the house with Josie covered in puke, bring the car seat, take it all apart, wash it all. And I was like, that is a great answer.
yeah.
And that's exactly what we're talking about today.
There you go.
Since November, Thanksgiving is coming. Talking about gratitude and
Yeah.
being thankful.
And yeah, and what a hard thing to do.
Yep.
And I feel like the more that I think about it, like the more that I'm consciously trying to be grateful, it really just it makes everything a little bit easier. Um, and really just it changes your mind about your situation, you know, and having a um, I guess just a way out of your situation. Um, it it yeah, it makes actually it just makes your day a little bit funner.
Yeah, if I feel like it feels like when it's a really cloudy day and then the clouds get thinner and you see like everything get a little brighter. And you're like, oh, it's coming out. That's the feeling. Like it doesn't get rid of everything. Like we all have problems and challenges, but it just like makes the sun come out a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, actually, I remember you doing an exercise, or at least telling me about doing an exercise where you guys were telling stories. I think this was in the Lifted, right? Where you're telling stories, but then doing them with helium.
Yeah.
Is that right? So tell me about that.
Yeah, so we had all written our Billy story, which is like that negative voice in your head, right? What does that horrible person in your head say to you, say about you, tell you about yourself? And so we'd written that, and every week we would read them over and over and read them different ways. And that was one of the ways was everyone brought a helium balloon and you read your story with that helium in your mouth, right? Because it takes the power away from the negativity. It shifts the way that you perceive that story and all the things that 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 voice in your head has been telling you. And so same thing, like it's a shift in perspective
Yeah.
of how are you looking at this? Are you looking at this as like an authoritative voice, or at your situation, is this like a permanent circumstance? Is this an unavoidable circumstance, or can you interpret it a little bit differently? And that was a great way to do it.
Yeah. So now, I feel like lots of times when we're thinking about gratitude and being thankful, we think of this cheery person who is always just like, oh yeah, like right, just the old like Valley Girl in the cartoons kind of thing. And I definitely don't think that it has to be like that. Like, because like you said, we're going to have problems, and you're gonna, all right, here's my problem, and now we can state that, but still be in a good place. And I feel like when we're in the thick of things, when we're having the troubles, it is really hard not only to be grateful, but I think it's lots of times hard to get outside of that and then like look in and go, all right, here's what's actually happened. It's like we're staring at a wall because we have an obstacle, and it's like, dude, look at that. There you go. Like there is a way out of this.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, so yeah, actually, I even looked up gratitude, and it said that it's the quality of being thankful. It's the readiness to show appreciation for, or the return of kindness. And I thought it was pretty interesting because when it said the readiness to show appreciation, and I feel that you have to be in a certain mindset to do that, right? Mm. And actually, I feel that I have trouble showing appreciation. So I can be very thankful. Like, so I have a hard time when people give me gifts. And actually, I was just talking to Edward. Edward was in, and we were both talking about this. And he was like, I do not want a surprise party. I don't want a surprise gift. He's like, I tell my wife, I tell her, hey, this is what I want. And he's like, she's gotten really good. She goes, hey, I got you this over here. And it's going to be over here. Like, it's not wrapped. It's not anything. It's like, this is what you asked for, and it's right over here. And he's like, thank you. Right? And, so sometimes even just that surprise gift, like for me, it's really hard to go, I'll say thank you because I don't know what else to say, but I don't know how I'm supposed to do it, right? Mm-hmm. And that's just a thing with me, with receiving gifts. But again, to be able to show that, and I think that I had to get into a different mindset. And actually, I'm really working on that a lot. Even being able to say thank you or tell somebody that they did something that I really appreciated, without just saying thank you, right? And but it's taken a whole lot to really get ready to show and I don't really know why that was exactly.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because I'm the same way as far as like, I feel like it stems from accepting help, mm-hmm. and just accepting, like gifts too. I know I still think back to this one instance where we were at church and someone was like, hey, here's a big bag of baby clothes. And my first reaction was like, more stuff.
Right.
And I was like, these people are being so kind.
Yeah.
Like, say thank you. I do appreciate that. I don't have to go out and like buy all these clothes for a tiny kid who's going to grow out of them in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, and really appreciating the gesture, mm-hmm. So even if you're never going to use it, they thought about you, and now you can appreciate that. And guess what? You might be able to gift that to somebody else. And I know that might sound like, oh, you're regifting or whatever, but it's like, no, you know what? It's paying it forward.
Yeah.
And you go, you know what? I don't necessarily need this, and somebody else could use it more.
Yeah.
But I still I totally appreciate what you've done for me, or
Yeah.
that you were thinking about me.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think I love that definition you said of like being prepared, because if you are in that mindset of gratitude already, like you're practicing it, then those moments, your default is that is so kind of you versus oh more stuff. Like find right, you can either find the negative or find the positive.
Mm-hmm.
And even something like that where there should be no negative. Right, like
First world problems.
right.
People
We
keep giving me things.
exactly. And we all know people who are like that.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, a friend of mine was telling us this story. She was talking with a friend of hers who is just super negative, like bringing everything down. And she's just like complaining with her. And she said she started by trying to like, find the bright side of like, well, maybe the people were thinking this, or maybe this will happen. And they're just like, no, it's like horrible. So then she's like, okay, I'll just like go with it and, empathize with her and be like, yeah, that sounds really hard. Like, and then she's like, well, you don't have to be a downer. Like she found the negative no matter what.
Yeah.
But if you're in the, if that is your default, then you're always going to find that. And so shifting your perspective to gratitude and looking for those things to be thankful for in every situation, you're going to start to see them a lot more often.
Yeah. Now, I do think. What's that?
And you won't be that person
Oh, yeah.
that all of us are thinking of right now.
the big downer.
Yeah.
Well, so I definitely think that that you have to be in a place of abundance first. So I remember just in so when I was working the firehouse and doing the gym, I was so bogged down with time, and I was really trying to get things done that I couldn't do because of like my schedule and all this stuff, whether it was with the gym, whether it was at the firehouse, whether it was with my family. And you're like, it's putting out these fires. It's like, oh my gosh, I got to do this. I got to do that. And I think the same thing, if your bills aren't paid, if you don't have food, if all these things, it's really hard to be grateful for much of anything, because it's not the thing that you're looking for, right? And so it like, yeah, maybe you get a little bit of money, but it's like so I'm thinking, say you see somebody who is on the street, they're asking for money, and it's like, all right, here's a little bit, but it's like, man, it still didn't make me secure, right? And so it's like I have to get secure before I can be ready to really appreciate what I'm getting. And this can be anything. So if I'm not secure in all this stuff, yeah, I get these clothes, and it was like, oh, like that's not what I needed. But if I can be like, hey, I've got enough of everything. I've got enough, right? So now we're like talking like abundance mindset versus scarcity mindset. Then anything that comes along, it's like, hey, that's great. Thank you very much, right? Mm-hmm. And we can even take that into those bad situations where, hey, this was really hard, but this is going to be good too.
Mm-hmm.
That make sense?
For someone in that situation. So I guess the way I was thinking of it is almost like chicken or the egg.
Okay.
But I think maybe this is the same thing you were saying, is that, even when you're in that situation where things are scarce, having the mindset of like being grateful for what you have, that like shifts the mindset a little bit.
Yeah, because really, they've shown that being in a more impoverished country, right, doesn't necessarily it doesn't make a huge difference with satisfaction, right?
Right.
So you can have all kinds of things. You could be very financially secure and stuff like that, but still not have that abundance. Like you're still like, oh shoot, what if this happens? What if that happens? And so everything sort of sucks, right?
Totally. Even, I mean, like, we live in classic, I mean, it's like 1960s suburbia, right? And you see the exact same thing that you're talking about, right? Like, people in these massive houses have, like, their fancy four-wheelers and boats and stuff in the garage, and it's still like, right? We're like close on the bills. We don't have enough time. The kids have to get there. I have to go do this. And it's like, take a sec. Back up for a sec. Look at everything you have. Like, shifting the mindset to the gratitude is gonna, like, it changes your whole attitude. It changes your whole experience of, like, all of these things that are around you. Whether you're in suburbia or in a developing country. Like, it's the way that you look at it that's going to change the way you experience it.
Right. Yeah. Actually, so I have a charge up routine that I've been working on. And I've gone back and forth with this. Like, there's times that I have not done it, but I've been back on it again. And the idea of it is to center yourself for the day before you start. And a few of the things that you do. So I've written a clarity statement. And so in this clarity statement, it's like who I am, what I'm doing, and then it finishes with, are you getting an echo?
No.
Oh, good. Right? It finishes with some like I am statements. So, I am in control, and I am, financially secure. I am, like you can put anything in here that you want, but really getting it into your head that you have these things. And then when I read this, then I also go through, and I have it here just because I did want to talk about it. So you do a daily affirmation, okay? So I am, and you can put whatever you want here. Then today I will focus on shifting my pattern of. So something that I've been trying to work on and I want to be better at, right? Then I am grateful for. Now this is, to me, it was hard because often it'll be like, I'm happy for family. It's all these cookie cutter little things. And I've been trying to not use the same things. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that I've done in this part is start to look for things that seem like they suck, right? And what is good about it? So like right now, my car's in the shop, right? So the check engine light went on, and I wanted to get it done before the winter and all this stuff. So, so it was like, I'm grateful that I get to ride my bike to work, right? And I'm grateful that the weather has been great. So I'm out in the weather. I'm out on my bike. It's fantastic, right? And then it took too long. Like so, I was supposed to get it back yesterday. I actually got a flat tire on my bike, and so I had to I took Francie's bike because the one of the parts that came in, it was in the wrong box. So it was the wrong part. It was the right box, wrong part. And so now it's going to take a little bit longer. And it's like, hey, I get to ride my bike again. And actually, I really enjoyed riding her bike because it had gears, and I haven't rode a bike with gears in forever. And it was just like all these things. So finding something that should not be that great, and now turning that into why is this helpful, But anyway, so grateful, traits that my future self will have, right? So what are some traits that I would like to have, and the person I am becoming will experience more. Like fill this in. I have the opportunity to be my future self today and this has been huge for me because so one of the things I have a lot of trouble with is scheduling my time. And so it's like I end up putting out all the fires. And so now I like have these scheduled and I'm checking them off like as I go throughout the day because I planned myself into abundance. And then when I think about who I'm becoming, I feel it in. And when I do this, like in the morning, it slows me down, so it lets me get out of that mess, like all the things that are going on. I get to start thinking about the things that I have, the things that I want, how I can get there. And all of a sudden, I'll tell you what, I go to the gym with just a smile on my face. And actually, even when I'm at home, because I've got these things, I've already thought about them, it puts me into that readiness spot to be appreciative of the things that are happening. And it's really been a big change for me for how I am able to react to people. And actually, I was just talking to one of our members who's been here for a while. They were here. They had to stop during COVID. They came back, and they said, "You are a different person than when I first came here." And like just the way that I interact with people and things like that. And I really believe so. That whole time, that was like I had left the firehouse, so it took some things off my plate. I had been getting into these kind of things, like resetting my mind on who I am, what I'm doing, and how these things are affecting me, or even what I have control of. And all of a sudden, it's like I can interact with people out of love instead of out of like, hey, I've got things to do right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the desperation. And I think that's a big one. You cannot be in a place of gratitude and like worry at the same time. You can't be angry or scared and grateful at the same time. So if you are focusing on being thankful and grateful for the stuff around you, like those other emotions, it's just like the nutrition stuff we talk about. Like, don't focus on cutting out all this stuff. Focus on adding in all the good stuff. Yeah. And same thing here. Like, add in the good stuff. Focus in on the good stuff. And all the negativity is going to start to get pushed out of the way, right? Because you're going to spend all of your time being thankful.
Right. Now, Eric, do you have... So, because I think that you have to get into like a mindset, but also making sure that you are happy. So, like I said, I was in this desperation, and man, I wasn't doing things fun. Do you have any kind of things that you do that help you just like fill your cup so that you can be in that place?
So. One of my favorites, and I throw this out to people all the time, is listening to my favorite music. Like going back to high school, because I didn't for a long time. And all of a sudden I'm like, man, I haven't listened to that forever. And so pull up some Rancid, and I'm like, this is great.
Yeah.
Right? And like all of a sudden you're back in a place where like you were super happy and excited, right? And so finding those kinds of things, I've even talked to people, they're like, oh yeah, like Mario. I haven't played Mario forever, or whatever it is. Like those things that you really loved doing and haven't for a long time, because they help you, like things that are from a time when you really felt yourself.
Right.
And so getting back to some of those things, and like that's like the little domino. Yeah. Then it's like, oh yeah. And like, what else did we do when we were doing this? Like, we were playing ping pong and foosball or whatever.
Right.
You know, and go find a brewery that has foosball tables. Well, whatever it is, like so finding those things that maybe in the past you really felt yourself, and
Right.
that can help you start to shift into um, that place of gratitude, that place of like joy, and start seeking out new things and more things. Like you said, like
Yeah.
the gratitude journal is super helpful. I love that idea of picking things that sound like they shouldn't be,
Hmm.
like you shouldn't be thankful for them. I think the flip side of that is um, like taking the time to mentally experience not having the things that you're thankful for. So if it's like I'm thankful for clean water, some people have to carry a jug, like on their
Right.
back for a mile each direction to get water. And like what would that be like if I had to do that right now, right here? Like where would I have to go to get water? What would I
Yeah.
have to carry it in? And they're like, wow, it's pretty awesome. I can just turn the knob, right? Like
Yeah.
you get a much better perspective on it, thinking about it that way versus like, I'm thankful for this chair. I'm thankful for this coat. But
Right.
like to really be grateful for it, what is life like without it? I think I think it was Joe DeSena. Hmm. I think he, in some interview a couple years ago, he was talking about, um, I forget if it was like 1 week a month or 1 month a year or something, that he just goes like absolute bare bones. Like I'm living off of like $10 a day or whatever. I'm eating canned beans. I'm only, well, he probably already only showers in the cold. Like absolute minimal, and I'm gonna live that way for a week straight because it
Crazy.
just centers you. You're like, wow, I'm pretty thankful for all
Yeah.
the food that I can have.
Yeah. That is super odd. I love him.
Yep. I know. Growing up, Lisa, uh, they would do what they had a $1 dinner.
Mm.
It was like $1 per person, I think,
Yeah.
and it was like a can of cream corn, hard boiled eggs. I forget what else. But that was like they talked about like that's our $1 dinner because things were tight.
Yeah.
And we've said like we could do that. Like
Yeah. We actually, so in high school, everybody had to take half a semester of home ec, and that was one of the final projects. Was like you had it was like a dollar or $2 or something like that to make a meal, and so you just had to you had to they gave you the prices like, oh, all right, the eggs are 99 cents, and so if you're having 2 eggs then it's this and whatever, and so you had to make a meal, and it was pretty interesting to start throwing that in there. And actually, I'll tell you what, that's a great way to start realizing that you have enough. You go, oh, this is what I could do for a meal instead of going to wherever and picking up a $15 meal of crap.
right. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
keto is fast and it's healthy.
right,
It's $12 per person.
right. So actually, back to some of the things that make you feel good, right? So you can be in that place of gratitude. Awesome situation that happened the other day. So one of my kids does doesn't really enjoy big social events, right? And now that doesn't mean that they don't like to be with their friends, but they realized, and they're pretty darn young to be realizing this, that they like to go do that stuff, but when they're done, it is just physically and mentally exhausting. And so they were like, I need a social break. Like they told me this, and I'm like, you got to like, I don't even know what you're talking about, right? And especially like my love language, I think, is quality time. I just like to be around people. I don't have to necessarily be doing anything, but so realizing that going and grabbing a book and staying away from people for a little bit is going to be putting you in the best place so that when you re-interact with people, you're all good. Because yeah, you're just going to get angry with people. You're going to it's just going to be miserable. And actually, I've been realizing that I really like mindless work. So whether it's like yard work, it's like chopping wood, right? I've always liked those stupid things. And actually this weekend, so I'll tell you what, my charge up routine has given me more time in the week because I am more scheduled. I'm like doing the things that I need to do so I can do the things that I want to do. And I came and did a bunch of outside work. So we are, you guys write this down, the cleanest street in Chicago Heights. And I came and I just did a bunch of garbage pickup. I cleaned out the sidewalks are just, they're turning into grass and gravel and stuff like that. And so here's the cool thing. So speaking of gratitude, right? I could say, hey, I have the worst street in Chicago Heights, right? It is basically a dirt road. It's potholes and whatever. There's not much I can do. Or I can go, hey, I have the opportunity to make this the cleanest street. It might not be the prettiest, but it is the cleanest. Mm-hmm. And but I went out, just by myself. It was a nice day. The kids were at a birthday party, and Natalie was working, and I was able to take this. And I'll tell you what, it makes me feel really good. Going out and cutting the grass, or doing those kind of things. Now, the funny thing is that I'm not always prepared for that. So if I have all these things going on in my head that I need to do, I can't do it. And so I never get fully charged. Mm-hmm. But once I get these things into place, I can go out and do those things, fill my cup, and everything is great. And now when Natalie goes, hey, I'm she's been feeling a little bit behind. And lots of times I'm not able to step up and do. I'm like, no, I got to do this. I got to do that. And it was great because I was able to go, all right, I'm doing this. Like, hey, I'm going to do the shopping right now while you're doing this. I'll get this stuff ready. You know what I mean? And it filled me up. It let me do my mindless work, right? And just get back to myself so I can be in that better place going into that next week.
Man, I can relate to both of those so strongly. Like when we used to host Thanksgiving mm-hmm. with like 60 people in our house. Yeah. That's what's really exhausting to me. I mean, big social things often are exhausting, but especially if it's like in my space. When we hosted Thanksgiving, I would always go upstairs.
Yeah, I do.
After a while, I'd have to.
I thought you were weird.
Yeah, I'd have to like go up to my bedroom and just be there for a while and then come back down. It's totally fine. I'm playing games and whatever. But that much time with that many people, it's like I need a break. And mindless work. Oh man. If someone does the dishes, then I'm like, now what am I going to do? Like after dinner, I do the dishes and like clean up and sweep and everything while Lisa's getting the girls ready for bed. Mm-hmm. But if like the schedule's off or whatever, and whatever, maybe we eat early and I'm playing with the girls, and then Lisa does the dishes. Now I'm like, now I don't know what to do with myself, and now I don't have mindless work to do.
Right.
Or even I was saying we were working on our church building, and there's been all kinds of random things, like we had all this mulch for the playground blow onto the AstroTurf, and so then I'm using like. It is a massive pain to get off. But once I figure out how to use like a certain rake to scrape it up,
yeah,
then okay. I'm like, I got my rows. I'm like, I'm by myself outside in the sun, like,
yep.
Mowing, cutting grass, like,
yeah, shoveling snow.
It's just like relaxing. And people are like, are you sure you want to do that? I'm like, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, and you can just watch me. You don't have to help.
Yep.
I do enjoy, I do like other people being there, but I don't necessarily need to interact. Yep. I actually, me and Natalie were talking about that. Like there was times where I was doing things at the gym. It would be I was cleaning up, and her and the kids would leave, and it was just like, it was like, here, you just sit right there, just watch me. No, don't talk. I'm good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my weird quirk, but it fills me up, and it gets me into that place. So now I have to find, how do I fit that into my life? How do I make that a consistent part so that I can be charged up, ready to go, so that I can be ready to appreciate the other things that are going on in my life.
Yep. Yeah.
So there you go.
Be thankful.
There you go. Yeah, but I'll tell you what. For anybody who's watching, number one, I would try and find something where you can really start resetting yourself. So whether it's some kind of journal or something like that, but getting into what am I doing so that it's not I'm just working, right? Why am I working? What kind of things am I going to be doing? How is this going to be affecting me? Like, am I doing this for money, right? Am I doing this for vacation or whatever? And it's going to bring some intention to all those things that you're doing, hopefully setting you up into a place where you are doing the things that you want to do more often. And yeah, use that, and then make sure that you're doing the things that you do enjoy. It'll let you appreciate more of the things that are going on in your life.
Another one, I'm going to throw this out there.
Yeah.
Another way to start resetting is what you use as your exclamations. So instead of being like, oh, crap, if you say like, goody, goody gumdrops, if you use that,
yeah,
immediately like the whole tone has changed of like, oh, I dropped my glass water bottle and it exploded. You're like, goody, goody gumdrop. Now I get to get a new, better one. Or son of a biscuit. That's a good one too. Where just instead of taking it down, bring the moment up with your language, basically. What words you use shifts the way that you perceive it. You can make it more fun, more enjoyable when things go not as planned.
I love that. Opa!
Yeah, right. Exactly.
How great is it when you're at a restaurant and one of the waiters drops the plates and somebody yells Opa, right? I'm doing that from now on.
Oh.
I will be that guy.
You're gonna buy plates at the thrift store just to break
No,
them?
I'm gonna trip the waiters and then yell Opa.
That sounds like a Jackass skit.
All right. Well, that is this week. Do that but better. We'll see you guys again, 12 o'clock Tuesdays. Eric, have a great week.
You too. See you later.